Stretching over 6,000 kilometers long, it is often regarded as the longest river in the world. Life radiates from its plentiful delta, and 40 million people along with hundreds of species of flora and fauna flourish along its serene path. Full of rich history, life has cultivated in this basin since its conception on Earth. It is the cradle of civilizations. It is the land of the wild. Where paradise blooms in the scorching desert, this is the Nile River.
The Nile River is a major north-flowing river in northeastern Africa. Most of ancient Egypt's historical sites are located along the banks of the Nile River, including cities such as Luxor and Cairo. The main abiotic factor of the Nile ecosystem is the water that makes up the river. All of the life in this ecosystem depends on the water of the river for survival. The weather is a very important abiotic factor as well. The northern part of the Nile has virtually no rainfall in the summer, while in contrast, the southern portion has heavy rains during the summer. The temperature in the middle of June is typically around 117 degrees, which means the biotic factors that live in this ecosystem have to withstand some pretty scorching temperatures. Biotic factors of the Nile ecosystems include the Nile tilapia, Nile crocodile, wildebeest, saddle-billed stork, papyrus, the blue Egyptian water lily, snail fever, plasmodium, and hundreds of other organisms. The river flows through 11 different countries and supports millions of lives along the way. The wildebeest, or wild beast, named by native Africans for its intimidating and untamed appearance, is a mammal of the species Conchatus taurinus. It weighs up to 600 pounds and has a long mane, hump shoulders, and strong legs. The males have sharp, smooth, curved horns, used for battling and defending themselves from other males in order to attract mates. Their excellent hearing and keen sense of smell makes them very aware of their surroundings. Actually a type of antelope, these mammals provide nourishment to all the major predators of their habitat. Often considered one part ox and one part horse, these cows of the Nile Basin are one of the most common examples of life in Africa.
The saddle-billed stork, classified as species Ave, is known to Africans as the jabaru. It is 1.5 meters tall, with a 3-meter wingspan that wades in the Nile River, searching for its main prey, small fish, frogs, and crabs, using its long, compressed bill. This large bird is very territorial and often occurs singly or in pairs. When a male and a female decide to mate, they often stay together for life and never migrate, using the same territory and often the same nest year-round. The female lays an egg and the couple share incubating time, on and off for 32 days. Males and females are distinguishable by eye color, males having black eyes and females having yellow eyes.
The Nile tilapia is an extremely common fish found in the Nile River. It is classified as an osteoichthyes or bony fish and has small scales to protect itself from harm. Its body is divided into 3 sections and it has gills and large eyes with dorsal fins and pectoral fins for stability. It is an omnivore that feeds on underwater plants and algae, which helps to control the aquatic weeds, and also mosquito larvae, which helps to control mosquito populations and reduces mosquito-carried diseases. The Nile tilapia is often called St. Peter's fish and was one of the first fish to be cultivated in Egypt over 3,000 years ago. We'll go down to the awesome life of the Nile tilapia!
Ha!
David Carey here with some exciting information about the Nile crocodile. With its ferocious teeth and short temper, the Nile crocodile is synonymous with the word fear in Africa. Seriously, folks, you don't know fear until you're locked in a cage match with a 2-ton mass of ornery reptile with an attitude problem. Growing up to nearly 12 feet in length and reaching weights into several hundred pounds, this ancient reptile rules the Nile River basin. Its hard, dry, leathery skin, along with its powerful jaw muscles and terrifying eyes, give an extremely dinosaur-esque look. Now kids, I know dinosaurs were long gone by the time you were conceived, but back in my day, I used to hunt them. There's nothing more satisfying than slipping into a bed made of the hide of a 10-ton basilodon you hunted with your own club. As for food, this crocodile mainly feeds on the unsuspecting wildebeest that drink from the Nile. Just like I snuck up on that basilodon, that terrifying lizard didn't even see it coming. Too engrossed in its own ambitions, if you ask me. These animals are very territorial and may often chase away intruding males when trying to mate. It's a common known fact that males are called crocodiles, and the females are technically referred to as alligators. The Nile crocodile is the most dangerous animal on land and in water, and garners much respect from the native Nile people. You know, I learned recently from an Adam Sandler movie that alligators are so ornery because they have all those teeth and no toothbrush. Heck, I'd devour an antelope whole if it weren't for my daily treatment of fluoride. Wouldn't you? Just say yes and we'll move on. And how about that death roll it does, known in the ring as the Heimlich pushover? Moral of the story, Cubs win. Cubs win.
Papyrus is a long, leafless, grass-like angiosperm that can reach lengths of 14 feet in some areas. This plant is commonly found on the banks that hate you. This plant is commonly found on the banks of the Nile River and other areas in the Nile River basin. It provides shelter for fish, birds, and crocodiles looking to lay their eggs. Thousands of years ago, papyrus was ground up and flattened out to be used as paper to write on by the ancient natives. It's an extremely abundant plant that lines the river and has many historic ties. Yeah.
The Egyptian water lily, or Nymphaea caerulea, is a large flowering plant found in and around the Nile River. Its leaves are broadly rounded, 25 to 40 centimeters across, with a notch at the leaf stem. The flowers are 10 to 15 centimeters in diameter and are dark blue in color. It is used by the ancient Egyptians in several rituals and is today used mainly to make wine, tea, and martinis.
Unfortunately for the native people and animals of the Nile River, there are many viruses and bacteria swimming throughout its waters. E. coli is a very common organism living in the Nile River. It's a microscopic bacteria that consists of structures such as flagella, used for movement, an outer membrane for protection, ribosomes that synthesize protein, and a plasma membrane that holds it all together. Natives eat the animals, such as fish and birds, that dwell in the river that contain these bacteria in their bowels. It then gets transferred to the human, causes sickness, and in worst cases, even death. When it comes to reproduction, E. coli uses two methods, cell division and conjugation. Both of these methods are efficient and make E. coli one of the many dangers of the ancient river.
Plasmodium falciparum is an extremely prevalent protozoan found in the Nile River. It is approximately 1.5 microns in length and 1 micron in width, making it an extremely small and deadly organism. This protozoan is particularly deadly because it is one of the main causes of malaria. Mosquitoes pick up Plasmodium and travel from organism to organism, spreading the malaria like a silent wildfire. The Plasmodium attacks and enters the host cells, avoiding the host's immunities with the thousands of adapted genes, causing sickness and, in many extreme cases, death.
The Chambaria ruben is a bivalvular mollusk that dwells in the waters of the Nile River, with a 10-month maturation period from egg to larvae and only 2 natural predators, which are humans and starfish. This mollusk has little problem with overpopulation or reproduction. It's not very susceptible to disease because it resides in the sediment and rarely comes in contact with other organisms, making it a professional survivor. The ruben feeds on other small mollusks and microscopic plant material in the sediment. As for looks, this mollusk is nearly indistinguishable from average clam. It is covered in a 3-layered shell and has a basic heart, stomach, and intestinal tract. Shut up, Joy. The Bioseriata sponge is a porifera that makes its home in the Nile River. Arr! It's a porous filter feeder that attaches to an area in the river and obtains nutrients. Arr!
Oh, yum. Oh, yeah.
Hey, buddy. What the heck is that?
Why, this is a hole, good sir. You see, I am a sponge.
This species of sponge, like most others, colonizes with other sponges that are genetically identical. Arr! These sponges thrive because they have no natural predators due to the toxins they release when obtaining nutrients through the filter feeding method. Arr!
I'm a sponge. I'll just filter feed.
These sponges reproduce sexually by releasing sperm into the water, Arr, that is taken in by other sponges, and asexually through the process of budding, where a young sponge buds off of its parent sponge. Sponges have no tissues or bones, but they do have cells that make up their structures, Arr.
But seriously, folks, the only thing dumber than a squirrel is a sponge. I mean, we're so dumb, we don't even have a vertebrae. Look at me! I got no bones.
Schistosoma is a flatworm that swims through the waters of the Nile. It is a very common and very dangerous invertebrate of Africa that is ingested by swimmers who wade in the Nile and causes schistosomiasis, a deadly waterborne disease. It is a free-swimming flatworm that grows up to 22 millimeters long. It lays eggs, which needs to find a host in order to hatch. These organisms feed on the blood and the veins of the bladder of other mammalian hosts. While they don't have natural predators, they often have trouble reproducing due to the fact that the eggs cannot always reach a host in time to hatch.
Shut up, Chewie!
There are over 2,500 species of mosquitoes, but the Nile is one of the most dangerous. It is feared due to the fact that it carries deadly diseases like malaria and the West Nile virus throughout the area, causing these diseases to spread around the country, killing thousands. Your donation today could help fight these diseases. Please, these mosquitoes lay their eggs in large numbers on the surface of water sources. They are poor, helpless, defenseless pets already in shelters catching these diseases. Any donation would count tremendously. The eggs hatch after 48 hours and the young mosquitoes grow into the adult stage after 2 months. Only 2 cents would save a dozen kittens from being mutilated by the West Nile virus. Please, just pennies. The body of the mosquito is made up of 3 parts, the head, the abdomen, and the thorax. Just like our page, others have agreed to contribute per like. Seriously, what kind of soulless monster wouldn't at least do that? Mosquito's main predator is the dragonfly, but with such great numbers, this little killer doesn't have much trouble populating the Nile River basin. You are seriously one sick twist if you don't at least donate.
Predator-prey relationships in the Nile mostly evolve around the croc. It can hunt its prey both in and out of water, making it the ultimate predator. Baby crocs feed on small fish, frogs, insects, and small aquatic animals, while young adult crocs prey on birds, turtles, snakes, and other animals. The oldest crocs prefer mammals only, however, such as impalas, zebras, and warthogs. It is obvious that the Nile croc has an important prey relationship with most of the animals it coexists with.
The Nile hippo population has recently started decreasing toward extinction very rapidly. Hundreds of hippos are shot every year to minimize human-wildlife conflicts. As populations grow, the humans have begun to encroach on the hippos' habitats with new construction, confining them to protected areas.
The West Nile virus is carried by mosquitoes all over the Nile River and now all over the world. The mosquitoes have infected a multitude of different populations of animals in the Nile ecosystem. Populations of geese, wild African dogs, and storks are the most common Nile animals to be infected.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we have the elusive Jacob Sloan. Our film crew has taken the first ever professional footage of this beast. The elusive Jacob Sloan is a sarcastic creature who insidiously feeds on the confusion and chaos of others. He stalks his prey using seemingly harmless questions, but are packed with misleading desires and malicious intent. We strongly caution, if you are ever caught face to face with this animal, never interact with it. It may be the last thing you ever do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for the preceding images, for you are about to witness the reality of the demented side of nature. What you are about to see is the most gruesome, vile, and scandalous material ever to be documented. This amateur video was recovered from the phone on the body of a victim of a lethal wildlife encounter. His last sight, the mating dance of the monster himself, known as the flamboyance of the elusive Jacob Sloan.
You need to stop playing around with all the clowns and the wanksters. Good girls gotta get down with the gangsters. Go ahead, girl, put some back and some neck up on it, while I stand up in the background and check up on it.
Ooh, boy, you're looking like you like what you see. Won't you come over and check up on it? I'ma let you work up on it. Ladies, let him check up on it. Watch it while he check up on it. Tip it, pop it, talk it, stop and check on me tonight. If you got it, flown it, boy, I know you want it. While I turn around, you watch me check up on it. You watching me shake it, I see it in your face, but you can't take it, it's blazing. You watch me in amazement, you can look at it as long as you don't grab it. If you don't go bragging, I'ma let you have it. You think that I'm teasing, but I ain't got no reason.
The biology of this beautiful ecosystem reflects with the basic examples of all life on Earth, where the sun rises and sets, and life and death are experienced every day. We know not what mysteries life will throw upon us next. There are certain signs of life that are inherent in all things, call it a soul, a conscious mind, or something more mysterious. From the biggest cities, to the most indigenous tribes, to that colony of ants you see walking through the grass, we all have something in common. We can't often pinpoint what that one thing is, but one thing is for certain: the Nile River will flow on into eternity.